Corbett of Castle Vale.
We have discussed the situation at Camp Ashraf with the Iraqi Prime Minister, the Iraqi Foreign Minister, the Iraqi Human Rights Minister, the Iraqi Minister of Internal Affairs, and the Iraqi government's Ashraf Committee. The United Kingdom has underlined the need for the Iraqi authorities to deal with the residents of Camp Ashraf in a way that meets international humanitarian standards. Officials from the British Embassy in Baghdad have visited Camp Ashraf 4 times in the last year and remain in contact with the United Nations Assistance Commission and with the United States. We continue to follow developments.
Lords, while thanking the noble Lord for that account of energetic activity, would he agree that since it was the occupying forces of the Americans and the British who delivered the residents of Ashraf into the mercies of the Iraqi military, they retain some obligation for their protection and welfare, and for their protection from repeated murderous attacks and the interruption of food and medical supplies? Would the noble Lord agree that if we could discharge an obligation simply by saying that we had transferred it to someone else, we could all get rid of our debts instantly and painlessly? Does the government agree that it does retain a responsibility to protect?
As I've indicated, we have constant contact with the Iraqi government. The United Nations Assistance Mission itself visits the site once a week, although they have removed for the moment their continuous monitoring. And I think the pressure, international pressure, is there.
Would not my right honourable and noble friend agree? We, as partners of America in the Iraqi war, have a clear moral responsibility to try and stop any violence or intimidation of the people in Ashraf. And I, for my part, am very grateful for what my noble friend has said about the representations already made. But perhaps the time has come, has it not, when we should be urging a permanent UN presence in Ashraf until things are really sorted out there.
That's a hypothesis I think I have to agree with if this was so, but unfortunately it isn't. We're dealing with a much more complex situation, with Iraq seeking to achieve a new government and being a sovereign power, and of course there is the historical baggage I've referred to and the malign influence of Iran throughout the Middle East, for which we must never cease to be carefully safeguarded and watch very carefully.
But, my lords, does not the noble lord agree that irrespective of what our legal obligations are, we have an enduring obligation to the people in Camp Ashraf, as the noble Lord Waddington has indicated? We do not, after all, hand over anybody to any sovereign power if we think they would be tortured or in any other way mistreated. And can he assure us that our own officials will continue to visit Camp Ashraf? And can he also tell us whether there is any hope in the future that there will be UN inspectors into Camp Ashraf, as the noble Lord Waddington has rightly requested?
Well, obviously we intend to continue having access as we've got now. We intend to monitor. We intend to continue pressing the UN, who appear to be very ready to visit and to maintain a very close eye on the situation. And they are the ones who will be watched very carefully by the world, but who will be expected to police and manage this matter in a civilized way.
My lords, and would the Minister agree with me that we should be paying tribute to those people, the women who stood up to the chains they were being beaten with when the Iraqi people went into their camp? Would you agree with me that these people deserve more than words, but a good, sound advice from this House that what goes on when they go in there and beat up people, young people, and as I've seen on this video, the DVD, chains being used to hit women who were protesting? And I would ask the Minister if he will now go to the United Nations and say, normal procedures are one thing, and let's get on and get these people some security.
Yes, I think the noble Lord is right. All such methods, and all such activities where they take place should be deeply, deeply deplored. These are not the kind of things that we expect to see of the modern Iraq, which is trying to take its place in the world in the Committee of Nations with a responsible power, and we should never cease to keep pressure on them to maintain the highest possible standards and deplore anything of the kind the noble Lord has described.